The next session we are going into is business lesson from fast-growing churches and businesses. What are the lessons that we can learn from very fast-growing churches and businesses that we can implement in our own businesses? Like I told you at Counselor University, one of the things we do, which is also what I want to advise you is, let me start by this simple story. How I heard laser came to be used in medicine. Now you know laser can be used, it's now used in surgery. Now, but laser in radar was initially designed to be used to track aircrafts in the sky during this, developed during the Second World War. So, he said a doctor attended a military seminar and they were discussing about radar and light rays. How radar can be pointed in the sky to track an aircraft, and with that you can use an anti-aircraft gun to shoot it down. And the doctor was now wondering, if this thing, light energy, can be used to pinpoint an aircraft and just get that aircraft without destroying every other thing, that this same thing can actually be used in a human body to target a particular disease part and cut off that disease part without damaging other cells. And that was how laser was moved from the military to the medical field. So with that background, one of the things I tried to do was, I trained as a pharmacist, but I practice more as a management consultant, and I'm more of 80% a teacher. So most of the times, I attend trainings in any industry. And there are ideas that will be common practice in a school, but nobody in the pharmaceutical industry knows about it. So when I attend an educational seminar, and these ideas that is just common to them is shared, I can easily take it from there, bring it to the pharmaceutical industry, and people will say, wow, this is unique. So some of the things I do is that when I'm walking on the road, or when I attend a church, or when I see any church, I ask myself, why is this church doing very well? And from the lessons I've learned, and from businesses that are doing very well too, I think that we can use it in our current business to help to drive what we are doing. The first thing I notice about fast-growing churches and businesses is brand identity. If I mention, Nigeria. If I mention Mr. Biggs, what comes to your mind? If I mention if somebody's, how would I put it? Okay, no, let me use something else now. In Nigeria, if I say MTN, what comes to your mind? Huh? Muewa.
Talk about network. How are you?
No, what I'm just saying, the name. What's
network comes to my mind.
Yeah. Now, if I mention Chisco.
Vehicles come to my mind. Vehicles.
Motor. Now, why do you think these things are coming to your mind? Because they have created a brand identity. If I mention winners, does any image come in your mind? If I mention redeem, does any image come to your mind? If I mention mountain of fire, any image? If I say Champions Church International, Why are you shaking your head? Because Champion Church International have not taken our time to work on their brand identity. One, they say that if you decide to sell Coca-Cola as a company, if you sell all the assets of Coca-Cola, you will make about $55 billion. But if you decide to sell the brand name Coca-Cola, you will make over $200 billion. Meaning that if you guys don't take out time to start to build your brand equity, there's no way your business will stand out. If you don't have a logo that differentiates you, if you don't have a unique way of branding everything in your business. Let's say somebody comes to your place and buys Ribena, and you package it for the person and the person leaves. Is there anything, when the person gets home, in the person's house, that will remind the person about your business? At worst case, the nylon you use to package this thing, if the person needs to get something immediately, can the person at least find your phone number or something about you on the nylon that tells him that this thing is a pharmacy? Anytime I think about the pharmacy, let me think about these people. There's this training company called Thomas Associates. I also use, when I was running a consultancy firm, part of the things I do was I also do part trainings with them. See, anytime you drive into Thomas Associates, as you are leaving, without you knowing it, there's a sticker beside your number plate saying this man has been at Thomas Associates. Meaning that anybody who comes and sees any car and say, wow, this guy is a big guy because he has been to Thomas Associates. And there's a phone number there. So is there anything that people have done to build your brand equity?
Well, actually, we are online. Apart from that, online. Nothing else.
How consistent are the colors people use? If your logo is light blue on your signage, on the shelves, is it sky blue? On your nylon bag, is it lemon blue? Brand image, brand identity is about consistency. Your brand identity, what is it portraying about you? You know, there was one of the things we do for our clients, when clients come to us, is to help them build up their brand identity. So there was this on a platform with some of my former schoolmates, and there was something that we were asked to design a brand, a logo for the group. So I put it on. So somebody down, one of our members now come and say, please, I need a logo for my company. I told him that, see, you don't need a logo. What you need to create is a brand identity. What brand identity means? Your signage, all your packaging materials, your ID card, your pens, your chairs, everything has to carry the same color, the same image. So that anywhere, see, if you see MTN color anywhere, will you doubt that is MTN? The same thing has to apply with you. That anywhere somebody sees you or anything about you, the person won't be in doubt that is this thing from these guys. And when he showed me what somebody created for him, I said, well, there's a huge difference between having a logo and having a brand identity. Brand identity is more like your name that is unique to you. It's more like the DNA of your business. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't take out time to give you the attention that they require so that it will be unique and special to them. That is why if they are lemon green today, tomorrow, what the next thing they produce is sky orange green. That communicates inconsistency. The next thing that I noticed about fast-growing churches and businesses is staff attitude. I don't know if you've been to these big churches and you notice the ushers. You can swear that these guys are not Nigerians. Because the way they welcome you into the church, the way they walk you to your seat, the way they ask you if you need any help, they make you feel so special that you want to come back the next time. What is your staff attitude to your customers? Do you guys treat people so well that they want to come back again and again? Or do you just see them as one of the people who just came in? You guys are the leaders of the team. Have you guys taken out time to actually study the attitude of your staffs? To ask yourself, this attitude, are they what we want in this place, or are they attitudes that we would prefer not to have? Because what you don't take time to observe, you will not notice. It's when you say, okay, I want to observe the attitude of my staff to know if they are attracting customers or if they are repelling them. That is when you start to notice habits. You say, wow, has this thing been happening in this place? But if you don't take out time to study your staff attitude, which has a major influence on attracting the right people to you, you find yourself working hard and having little to show for it. Because a bad attitude will send away your best customers. That is why I say it's better to work alone in your business than to have staff with poor attitude working with you. And it's better to fire any staff with poor attitude than to leave them, and they will definitely infect every other staff. And when they infect every other staff with their poor attitude, it will drive away your customers. The next thing also I noticed about these big growing businesses and churches is ease of doing business. They make it easier for their customers and their members to do business with them. What do I mean? If you walk in there, the seats are so arranged that it's easy for you to just walk in and get to a very comfortable seat. The seats are actually made to be comfortable for you. If you walk in there, the auditorium is well air conditioned, that you don't feel like rushing out. In fact, when the service ends, you feel like staying longer. They've so designed it that even the offering now itself is designed that with your card, your ATM, you can actually give your offering. They have made it easier for their customers to do business with them. My question with you is that, how have you made it easy for your customers to do business with you? You know, it's a bit funny where somebody is attending to one of your customer, and the customer needs something else. Rather than say, let me go and get it, you wait for the customer to go and get it by himself. Without considering that at the point the person is walking, you can just say, man, I don't need this thing. So, is your system designed to make it easy for your customers to do business with you? Just mentally look at how you people have been attending to customers. Ask yourself, is it easy for customers to do business with us? As somebody walks into your place, do you stay at the counter waiting for him to walk up to you? Or does somebody walk up to the person and say, welcome to our place, how may I help you? Or somebody's at the shelf just looking at, do you wait for him to make the decision? Or somebody goes up to him and says, sir, are you looking at our creams? Is there any particular reason why you're looking at the cream? How do you try to make it easy for your customers to do business with you? Big organizations have designed themselves. They deliberately study their system to find out, is there any part of our business that is making it slightly difficult for customers to do business with us? And they try to make that particular step easier for their customers. Look at your organization mentally. Ask yourself, how easy is it for your customers to do business with you? And the major thing too that customers, big churches are doing now, and big businesses are doing, is that in trying to make it easy for customers to do business with them, they make parking space available for their customers. You might think that these are little things, but I personally changed church once because of parking space. Because when I got to church, it took me at least 5 minutes to get a parking space. And I didn't find it nice. And mentally, I started to rack on my brain, where can I go that once I get there, I don't need to drive round and around to get a parking space. And the moment I look at another church where I could just go in, park in, and walk into the church, I changed the church. Now, to you might say, these little things. But people are making judgment calls based on that. You know, I added this particular point because, yes, I noticed this with churches and big businesses. But, you know, there was one of a pharmacist that was complaining to me that customers were now coming. And what I found unique about her was that she had 2 parking spaces in front of her shop, and her car was occupying one of the parking spaces. And you know, because it's her car, so she comes in the morning, and throughout the day, her car is there, meaning that she's left with 1 parking space. And somebody who is drives in, you know how Lagos is, car roads are. Mistakenly park wrongly, last man go show. So that once one customer drives in, it means that anybody who comes, any other person, will drive away. Except this person who is walking. So for you, have you people actually thought, what are the things that are occupying parking space in front of your shop? Because if those things are not addressed, I can guarantee you that people who are driving, once they come in and they can't find parking space, they keep on driving. So if you don't deliberately make out provision for parking space, that makes it easy for people to park, then without knowing, you are actually chasing away some of your customers. And like for some of us that have security guys who open door and close door, which one is more important, for the guy to be opening door or closing door, or for him to stand, and when that person parks, he's standing there watching over the person's car to make sure that no last man doesn't come to tow the car? Because which one do you think is more important to somebody? For somebody to be opening their door, for somebody to make sure that nobody comes to tow their car? Unfortunately, most of us have the people that open door, but there's nobody watching over the cars of the guy that comes to buy. Parking space is very important. And environment. We might say that they say if you want to turn an area into a jungle, all you need to do is build a wonderful house, but neglect your neighbors. Your neighbors' children are dirty, it's none of your business. Their house is dirty, it's none of your business. But you know what will happen? When people come in an area and see one very good house and 2 very dirty houses, it's only people who, because if you look at the ratio, it's 2 to 1. So it means that in this area, you have more dirty people than more clean people. So it's only dirty people that will come in. Before you know it, one day you wake up and you have 2 very good houses in a neighborhood of 100 very dirty houses. So your environment is also important to you. So don't just look at only your own. Look at also the environment. The people living around you. How is their own area looking? Don't just say it's none of my business. If your shop is located in a plaza, take out time to make sure that everywhere is neat. There are about 3 people living in this compound. But it's our cleaner that we pay that sweeps here all the time. So why are we paying somebody? Only us are paying the person who is sweeping the whole compound almost every day. Because we know that when parents come in here to bring their children, they won't ask you, the other people, why are they not? What they know that this place is in a dirty environment. So don't just say the environment is, my own place is neat. Everything is all encompassing. If everywhere around ShopRite is dirty and ShopRite is very neat, nobody will go into ShopRite. Because you need to walk through every other place for you to get into that place. The same thing applies to you. If people need to walk in through dirty environments to get into your place, it's part of your job to make sure that that dirty environment is cleaned up, even if it's not your direct responsibility. And when you do all these things, the summary is that you get repeat sales. So that when you build your brand equity, plus your staff attitude, plus make it easy for business to do business with you, create wonderful parking spaces for your customers, develop your environment, everything will guarantee that customers will keep on coming and coming and coming. If you can do this, I guarantee you will have repeat sales. Now, there's something called standard operating procedure, which is essentially most of these things that we're talking about, most of the things that you are learning about. There's something that is written in the book of Habakkuk. He said, this vision, write it down and make it plain, that whoever reads it will run with it. You need to understand that everything, the key points that you've gathered here, if you don't write it down and make it plain to your people, nobody will run with it. Nobody will do it over and over again. So I want to tell you what are the things you need to design into your sales standard operating procedure. Say, this is how we want to run our sales. What are the things what are the things we need to capture in to ensure that we keep on getting repeat high sales over and over and over again. Now, the things I'll be sharing with you guys are very important, and listen carefully to it, because it's important that all the things I share, when you go into your place and you notice them, you write them down. Number one is identify actions on high sales day. Any day your sales is very high, don't just say, God is good to us. Look at every miracles of God. There are ways you can actually replicate them. So you don't just say, because after God created everything, say, okay, man, go and multiply and replenish the earth. Which means go and repeat the same things. It means that it's important for you guys. On days that your sales are very high, don't just say, we thank God. Sit down and ask yourself, what are the things that we did today that made our sales very high? Yeah, we were talking about the day that guy that you thought didn't have money ended up buying things of about 16,000. What you should have done was, what are the things that we did today that made this guy buy things of 16,000? And you write them down. So that the next day when somebody like that again comes in, you can repeat that same thing. See, success is something that you can replicate. But you can only replicate it when you know the things that you did. So identify actions on high sales days and capture them. Identify on days too that sales are very low. Ask yourself, what are the things that we did today? Why you need to capture your action on the days that sales are very low, so you know that you know the things you don't repeat. Because you don't just say that sales are low. You also played a part. Because you can sincerely tell yourself that if somebody came in and bought things of something of 100 naira, that guy maybe with some persuasion would have bought something of 150. And with extra persuasion, maybe you can move it up to 200. So on days that sales are low, don't just say, sales bad today. Sit down and ask yourself, what are the things that happened today that made sales bad? Was it that some people came to ask for certain things that we don't have? Meaning that on low sales day, part of our action was that we don't have stock. Or was it that on the low sales days, there's a particular staff that was always on duty on low sales days? Those are the reasons why you need to capture your actions on low sales day. Then, what does the best staff do? You need to look at your best staffs, observe them, and start to write down the things you notice them doing. Because most times, most of these best staff, most of these your very good staff, which even know the good things that they are doing. But it's when you observe them that you notice the good things that they are doing, and you write them down, so that in your weekly training, you can actually use those things now to train other staffs. Because you are sure that these are the things that these very good staff are doing, so that you can replicate it in others. And I added, what do the worst staffs do? But to me, fire your worst staff. But you need to notice the things that the worst staff do, so that you can know these are the kind of things I don't want in my place. And you write them down, so that any day you see anybody doing, you say, I don't want this in my place, so this guy you need to leave. And benchmark a top performer. They said that when Toyota started off, what they did, at that time, the biggest car company in the world was General Motors. They said they wanted to be like the biggest car company in the world. So they now went out and adopted all General Motors standards. In fact, they said at that particular point, you can actually use some of General Motors spare parts to repair Toyota, or use Toyota spare parts to repair General Motors. Because they looked at the top performer and said, this is our minimum standard. You guys also need to find a top performer in your area and say, this is the guy we use as our minimum standard. So if you walk out, see how the color of their place is, you go on and measure, is our color like this? You look at how they arrange the lightings in their place, you come back, is our lighting like this? You look at the dressings of their staff, you come back and say, henceforth, this is how we dress. Find a top performer and benchmark the person. And most importantly, weekly review. All these things that you've written down, don't think that you remember them. Every week, have a weekly review. Because even the Bible says, let this word not depart from your heart. Meditate upon it day and night. So I'm saying, let that this word, this thing you've captured as your sales SOP, let it not depart from you. Meditate upon it weekly. So that is when you meditate upon it weekly, you can know that, okay, these are the ones that will stop doing, that we need to start doing. Because, like you guys mentioned, in the course of this our discussion, you notice things that you've been doing that you dropped. But if you are writing them down and say, these are the things we want to be doing, and you were doing weekly review, doing your weekly review, we were doing this last week, we stopped there, what happened? Okay, we'll start it again. That's the power of weekly review. When you are reviewing your actions and activities on a weekly basis, the things you stop doing, you start them, and the things that you need to drop, you drop them, because there's a funny way of saying, okay, we don't want this thing to happen again, and you stop it. But because you don't review it often and often again, you find it creeping back into your system. And when it creeps back and the new people come in, they adopt it as just a part of your way of doing things. Okay. What? Okay. Product positioning. This is about shelving. Let me rush so that we can go have a break. You need to position attractive products on easiest access paths. Meaning that you need to position, it's not all products you put at the same level. No OTCs that are attractive that people can readily buy. Put it as they are walking in that they can readily see it. Your cashier counter, load it up. There are things that, if you have been like, I keep using ShopRite. Have you noticed at the point you are about to make sales at ShopRite, that counter is loaded with, chewing gum, biscuits, and all those stuffs? Because they know that at that particular point of making sales, people are, because money is coming out, people are more open to spending more. And most importantly, is when you load up your cashier counter that when 50 naira change, the 100 naira no days, okay, right now this biscuit, give it to me. This snacks, give it to me. But when your cashier counter is empty, People insist on their change. I write it down, I'll come back for it later. So load up your cashier counter. Place your profitable products on eye level. What does it mean? The survey was done in a supermarket. They noticed that when people walk into any supermarket, they look at their eye level and they look up. That is why if you notice most very successful pharmacy and supermarket, is most of the, you find cotton wools and all those kind of stuff on the low shelf. The expensive products are normally on the this and high because they know that what people do is they look this way and up. So for the very unprofitable ones, they put it down. Yeah. So you also need to understand that. So when you go back, rearrange the shelf so that your profitable products are on the eye level, especially your OTCs and the herbal ones. So it's something that somebody is, especially when he is coming, okay, this particular one, what is it? But if it's below his eye level, he won't see it. Make high-priced products easily accessible. Then, this is very important. Place key products directly in pharmacist's line of sight or salesperson's line of sight. What does that mean? You've noticed one thing unique. You find out that most pharmacists or most salespeople, there's a particular product, it seems as if they are selling almost repeatedly, over and over. And why they are doing that is because that particular product is almost on their line of sight. So if you want them to start to sell a particular one, take out that one that they are used to, use another one and put in their own line of sight, and find out that particular one will start to move. So if you know products, there was a particular pharmacy I was working with one time, and they will find out that a lot of their expensive products were expiring. I said, no problem. What we'll do is that those expensive products, we move them from their normal shelf and build a special shelf beside the pharmacist and put them there. And because they were directly beside the pharmacist, suddenly they started to sell faster. So if you know the product you want to make faster sales on, place them closer to pharmacist's line of sight, and you find them selling fast. And conclusion of this part is, I advise you guys, drop a marketing plan, develop marketing aids, go beyond your current products, deploy the power of sound and smell. Let me elaborate a bit on this. Have you noticed that all ShopRite and certain shop has a particular smell when you go there? There's something called scent marketing. Scent marketing says that there's a particular scent that attracts people. It's actually what, when a dog is, a female dog is ovulating, you find out that almost all the male dogs around there gather around there. What happened? The dog is releasing a scent called pheromones. And when they are releasing that pheromone, that scent goes into this thing. And anywhere any male dog is, it hits it and it starts to follow that scent. The same thing, they found out that there are certain scents in human beings that make them want to spend more. And also with sound. If you find out that if you go also ShopRite and in airports too, you find out that there's a kind of slow music that play. What does sound do to you is that because the tune is low, it's trying to slow down your speed of movement. And the slower you walk, the more likely you see something to buy. An airport is, because when they play that in an airport, people where they rush can easily slow down so that the traffic congestion won't be so much there. So if you are playing music in your own shop, make sure you have music whose intention is maybe motivate your, something that uplifts. Someone that comes into your place is feeling down, is a bit sick. Play something down and make the person feel at least hopeful and want to at least know that this place has a soothing effect on me. And just make sure you have a nice perfume around if you are using it. And train your cashiers